Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, let me... Just as I suspected. It appears you have Aard's disease.
Heart disease?
Aard disease.
What does that mean, Doc?
It's pretty bad.
But Doc, how bad are the symptoms?
Probably the worst case I've ever seen. If you don't change your diet of cheese and crackers, your body will just harden over time into a clay-like consistency.
All right, thanks, Doc. I'll keep that in mind. Cheese. This is like old-ass cheese. Alrighty. Welcome to 2025, everybody. My name is Film Stash, aka Douglas Campbell. And other than my doctor's appointment that you just saw, I'm going nowhere. I'm just gonna stay in this apartment, you know, just kind of chill around and see what's on Netflix. And today, we're gonna be talking about Wallace and Gromit, A Vengeance Most Fowl. Somehow, Feathers McGraw returned. Gromit's concern that Wallace has become overdependent on his inventions are justified when Wallace invents a smart gnome that develops a mind of its own. The creative team at Aardman Animation have been pioneers in the field of claymation since 1972, with Nick Park introducing the world to Wallace and Gromit in A Grand Day Out in 1989. With their animation over the years, they have continually pushed the medium of claymation to new heights, with various projects over the years, from Wallace and Gromit itself, to Chicken Run, to many other things. Aardman faced a bit of a conundrum recently, whenever their supplier of plasticine clay, Louis Newplast, they shut down their doors in 2023. They came across the realization that their typical clay of choice was now no longer an option on the table. How does a company go on whenever its main bread and butter is all of a sudden Aardman having bought over 900 pounds of the remaining clay? They had just enough to complete this project. Their future clay of choice, it is still to be determined, but there are various projects for the company in the pipeline. From a collaboration with Pokemon to a Pingu reboot. Yeah, the people at Aardman, they are still very, very busy despite this recent situation. But right now, they have a new film on Netflix. Did I like it? Dude, chill, relax, all right? I'm gonna tell you here in a second. My God. Before we even get into anything, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Any help with this channel or with this video, it would be greatly, greatly appreciated. And now, let's get into the fun. Diving into the positives, what works not only with this particular Wallace and Gromit film, but the other shorts and Wallace and Gromit, Curse of the Wererabbit. It's the dynamic duo of Wallace and Gromit themselves. The simplicity of this duo is what makes it great. One talks, one doesn't. One's smart by naive. The other one is way smarter, does all the work, and gets no credit. And this combined with subtle silent comedy, particularly with the facial expressions of Gromit. I mean, it's a formula that's been working for many different comedy duos over the course of a century, and it's like, why fix it? Speaking of don't fix it, and what I'm gonna say, it's a little bit of a contradiction. With these characters existing for, like I said, almost 40 years now, they still maintain the wit and the humor that basically all these shorts in the movie are well known for. But at the same time, I think they effectively bring the story forward. Like, you don't see smartphones or anything, but they do incorporate artificial intelligence. That's a big talking point right now. The use of AI, it's incorporated pretty well, but it doesn't feel completely out of place within the Wallace and Gromit universe. I thought that the inclusion of the Norbot gnome, it was intentionally very grating and annoying, but I thought it added something interesting to the dynamic of Wallace and Gromit. And despite how fucking annoying that this robot was, I think it also at times could be pretty effectively creepy, or not scary, obviously. This isn't going to scare your kids if you have kids and you decide to watch it, but it's effectively creepy for family-friendly fare. Ooh. Do you know what that means? That means it's time for intermission. I can't wait to get some cheese, Gromit. And today, ooh, we have some interesting cheese. So the one cheese that we have, it's like a Cajun cheese. The other cheese, this one's a bit of a weird one. It's lavender and espresso. I don't know, I'm not looking forward to this one. Let's take a bite first of the spicy one. Because I got a microphone now, you get to hear every little chew. All right, so this cheese, it's good, but there's no spice to it. It's not bad though, it's good cheddar. Hold on, you get a little bit more of a kick there. Oh, that's good. They shouldn't have it on the rind though. They should have it spread out. I give that 6.5 out of 10. That one's not bad. They gotta spread it out. And now for this one, yay. Am I weird for liking this one? You do taste a bit of coffee with the espresso, but the lavender, it's subtly there, but it doesn't taste like I'm smelling laundry detergent. Like, it's really good. It's evenly spread out. You can taste the espresso in there. Cheese. I mean, it's not my #1 cheese of all time, but out of the two, I'd give that a 7.5 out of 10 on the cheese meter. That's pretty good. Going into the mixed, I thought that this was a pretty decent idea for another Wallace and Gromit movie. Let's revisit one of their classic shorts, but make a sequel to it. Reintroducing Feathers McGraw as an antagonistic force, like, there's so much comedy with this character because he's just as silent as Gromit, but really, like, he's only menacing because of the music cues. Other than that, he is such a cutie. Like, look at him. Look at the little chicken. And while the final product itself, it isn't bad, I feel like what they came up with story-wise, it just didn't justify itself as a feature-length film. If you look at their previous film effort, their feature film debut, Wallace and Gromit, Curse of the Wererabbit, it is an additional 6 minutes. But I feel that what they introduce and how they expand the world, it justifies itself as a feature-length film. Because primarily it's poking fun at the old monster movies. But this film and what they do with 6 less minutes, I feel like this could have been trimmed and be like a half-hour short. There's just not as much going on. I think that Wallace and Gromit being a short, that's where they thrive best. And while I enjoyed this film greatly, it just didn't justify being a feature-length film. Maybe I'm wrong, some of you might have liked it more than I did, but for me, it wasn't their strongest outing. You have Inspector McIntosh, and you have a new pupil that he's training under his precinct. But the problem is, I feel like even though they're fun characters, they're not as intriguing as the duo we've come to see over the years with Wallace and Gromit. They ultimately don't add much to the overall plot, and they probably could have cut these scenes for time. So, to wrap things up over here, Wallace and Gromit, A Vengeance Most Fowl, it is just another cute entry within a pretty good series of shorts and films. It's not my favorite Wallace and Gromit property, but I just love that we are still getting more and more Wallace and Gromit content. The fact that we are getting any at all still, I just love. So I'd say just keep them coming. Keep them coming. I'd love to see what creativity you guys come up with next with this property. Maybe have them go back to space. I don't know. I would give this probably a 7 out of 10. And for this week's recommendation, honestly, let's go and watch the original shorts. Like, they're about 30 minutes long. It's not that long. You could honestly binge them in one evening if you wanted to. It's like 2 hours just to watch all the shorts. Well, that's all the time we have for today here on Film Stash. My name is Douglas Campbell, and if you excuse me... Maybe one more piece of cheese won't hurt. Cheese. That isn't so bad.